Hi, welcome to Menopause Chicks. My name is Shirley and I am a perimenopause chick, and you are watching chickflix.tv. Today we have a very special guest, Dr. Leana Wen, who is the author of When Doctors Don't Listen. Welcome, Leana.
Hi, thank you so much for having me here, Shirley. I'm excited to speak with you and to talk to your viewers too.
So, menopause chicks are always telling me that they're frustrated by their experiences at the doctor's office. So, we're really excited to be able to crack open this conversation with you and to glean some tips for how we can, become our own best health advocates, but really learn how to manage that experience with our doctors. So before we get into that, why don't you begin by sharing with us a little bit about yourself and your background, and then we can continue the conversation.
Sure. So I work as an emergency physician and also the director of patient-centered care research at George Washington University in Washington, D.C.
Wow.
Yeah, I was very sick as a child myself. And then when I was a medical student, my mother was diagnosed with metastatic cancer, but only after a year of misdiagnosis, of going to her doctor and telling her doctor that she was having symptoms, but her doctor didn't pay attention, didn't think that these were symptoms to be concerned about. And ever since then, I've been a patient advocate as well. And I wrote my book, When Doctors Don't Listen, to help people speak up about their health. Because it's not that doctors are bad people or that patients can't do better, right? We know that there is a disconnect between what we're doing in medicine and what patients need. And so that's the disconnect that I want to bridge.
Excellent. So you are speaking to a group of women who may be experiencing anything from mild to severe perimenopausal symptoms. And often when we walk into our doctor's office, we can't quite name what's going on. We know something is off. So what is the best way to start that conversation with your doctor about what you think may be perimenopause?
What I recommend, so in my book, When Doctors Don't Listen, I talk about the 8 pillars to better diagnosis, because the diagnosis really is what is the foundation for everything else, right? If you don't get the diagnosis right, then the treatment is going to be wrong too, and you're going to continue to be frustrated. And so getting that right is so important. And what I recommend is the following. So 3 very important things. The first is to open the conversation with by asking for a partnership, by saying, look, I'm the expert when it comes to my body, and you're the expert when it comes to medicine. So let's work together to figure out what it is that you have.
Okay.
An opening statement like that, or to figure out what I have rather, and a statement like that really opens the door to engage the doctor and give the doctor the permission to partner with you. The second is to talk about your story and not about your symptoms. So often patients come in and they'll say, here are the many things that I'm experiencing, especially for something like menopause. You could have 20 symptoms.
Right.
And then the doctor's like, wow, I'm going through this list of things. How do I put this together?
Right.
But how about talk about your everyday experience and say why this is affecting you? Use the narrative arc that you would in a story and talk about that. And I think that's what the doctor will really relate to. And the third important tip is to ask about your diagnosis before you leave the office. So if the doctor says, oh, let's run some tests and let's get back together, or I'll call you with the results in a week. I mean, you don't know who's going to call you with the results, and what if the tests don't tell you anything? That's what happened to my mother when she was diagnosed with cancer, actually. The doctor said, oh, let's run some tests. And whatever tests were done, they were the wrong tests. And as a result, because they were normal, she didn't have any idea what to do next.
Right.
And so it's important to ask, what do you think I might have before you get the test done?
Very good. Very good. Help us understand if we find ourselves in a situation where a doctor may be dismissing our symptoms, such as, oh, you're too young, or that's just part of being a woman, or I've even heard stories where a patient's been told, oh, come back and see me when you're 51. You're not there yet. What are some of the tools that a patient can do to either move that conversation forward or move their health care forward?
I'd say two very important things. The first is to let your doctor know that this just isn't you. To say, I know my body very well. I've never felt like this in my life. Something is going on. Can you help me figure it out? Something like that really gets the doctor's attention. If there's something specific that you can point an example to that provides further context,
right,
that would be helpful too. So instead of saying, well, I'm tired, how about, I've been so tired, I can't even get out of bed and take care of my children. Or I've been feeling so tired of work that I've had to leave at noon every day. I mean, I'm giving just some examples of how you can use context. And then if you feel like you're not being taken seriously enough, perhaps asking for a second opinion is an important thing to do, because maybe that doctor, for whatever reason, is not relating to you, and you want to get the best care possible for yourself.
Right, right. That's great. Thank you. Are there any magic phrases? I mean, for those of us that don't work in the medical field, are there certain phrases or certain questions that are really going to accelerate the process better than others?
An important phrase is why, actually. Yeah. So if the doctor says, get this test, or you're fine, why? Why am I getting this test? What is it aiming to show? And if I'm going to be fine, what is it that I have, right? So asking these follow-up questions is very, very important. Another phrase that I find to be very helpful is, something is wrong. I don't know what it is, but this is not me. Something is wrong with me. Help me figure this out. And even saying, look, I'm a person who never goes to the doctor. In the last 10 years, I've only gone to the doctor once for myself. Other times it's for my children, but I've never gone really for myself. I'm here with you twice in the same month because something is wrong. And I think that also gets the doctor's attention to say, maybe what I'm thinking isn't right. Let's start over.
That's excellent. Thank you. I have this hypothesis that, and I've never had the opportunity to ask a doctor, but I'm imagining that someone that sits down and says, I read on the internet, can maybe get a doctor's backup. Is that true? Or what are some of the things that we shouldn't say to our doctors?
I don't know if every doctor would react the same way to the internet comment. I mean, some doctors really like it when you research information. What a doctor does not like, and again, I'm totally generalizing, but this is at least what I don't like, and I'm pretty liberal when it comes to, or pretty open-minded when it comes to patients bringing information, is a patient prints out 100 pages of things on the internet, comes in and says, I researched everything, here are the 5 tests I need, here are the 3 medications I need, do it.
Right.
And the implication is, you as a doctor, you're not asking for a partnership, right? The patient is saying, I know what's wrong with me, you don't. And you're standing in the way of me and my testing, or me and my medications. And I think that comes across the wrong way, as you can imagine. But just saying, I have a question about this, I looked it up on the internet, or I asked a friend of mine, that's entirely reasonable to me. If you don't want to use internet, you can always say, a friend of mine told me, or a friend of mine mentioned to me that this is something I should bring up.
Right.
What do you think?
Right. Well, and that's really great advice. And in fact, that's something that happens all the time, because our doctor's appointments tend to be quite short. And then we leave and we talk to a girlfriend, and the girlfriend says, oh, well, did he or she check your thyroid? And you're like, oh, I never thought to ask that. So, you know, the whole friend community is also very important in terms of helping you steer down your journey.
Absolutely. And that's why internet forums and groups like your group, for example, are so helpful, because you do get information from people who've been there and lived it and know what it's like for them on an everyday basis. What I say about medicine is that we are the 1%, right? I mean, most of your life is not spent with me in my office in the ER. Your lives are spent doing your normal daily activities. That you're 99% of the time. And so you have to tell me, what I should be looking for, because you know yourself the best.
Excellent. Dr. Wen, is there anything else that you'd like to share about perimenopause or talking to your doctor in general?
I'd say that being a woman is hard, and being a relatively healthy woman is hard too, because in the case of my mother, for example, whose symptoms were not menopause but were more serious, her doctor just looked at her and said, look, you're just a normal woman with nothing really wrong with you. Maybe you have some psychiatric issues, maybe, but you don't have real medical problems. And that is a barrier that we as women in particular have to overcome.
Yes.
And that's why it's so important for you to be your own best advocate. And that's why I wrote When Doctors Don't Listen, so that you can bring these issues up with your doctor in a non-threatening, non-confrontational way, but that still gets to the core of your issue.
Thank you. And thank you for your time and sharing your expertise today. We really appreciate it. Where can people find out more?
So if you're interested, you can buy my book on Amazon, Barnes& Noble, When Doctors Don't Listen, and I also have a website at my personal email, or my personal address, which is www.drleanawen.com, so DRLEANAWEN.com.
Excellent. We will put all that information on our website. And again, thank you for helping us crack open the conversation with our doctors.
Thank you very much, Shirley. You're doing wonderful work, and I appreciate being able to share some advice with your listeners and viewers.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, too.